Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Outgrow's Marketer of the Month. I'm your host, Dr. Saksham Sharda. I'm the creative director at Outgrow.co. And for this month, we're going to be interviewing Maya Moufarek, who's the Growth CMO Consultant at marketingcube.co. Thanks for joining us, Maya.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, Maya, we're going to start with a rapid fire round just to break the ice. You get 3 passes. In case you don't want to answer the question, you can just say pass, but try to keep your answers to one word or one sentence only, okay? All right. So, the
Yeah.
first one is, at what age do you want to retire?
As soon as possible.
How long does it take you to get ready in the mornings?
45 minutes.
Most embarrassing moment of your life?
Um, Shaking hand with a celebrity. I didn't know their name.
Favorite color?
Purple.
What time of day are you most inspired?
In the morning.
How many hours of sleep can you survive on?
7.
Fill in the blank. An upcoming marketing trend is blank.
Gosh, should have one. Um,
Okay, that'll be a pass. We can always pass. It's okay.
meaningful marketing.
Okay. The city in which the best kiss of your life happened.
Gosh, that's very personal.
You can pass.
Modern.
Okay. Pick one, Mark Zuckerberg or Jack Dorsey.
Neither. Brian
That's a third pass.
Brian
Brian Chesky. The biggest mistake of your career.
being very impatient.
How do you relax?
Cooking.
How many cups of coffee do you drink per day?
For the last 3 weeks, none.
A habit of yours that you hate.
My need for speed. Not in the car.
The most the most valuable skill you've learned in life.
Thank you and please are very underrated words.
And the last question is your favorite Netflix show.
Gosh, I don't know if it was on Netflix, but any kind of tech documentary. I don't think it was on Netflix, but you know, the wood flashes,
Okay.
things like that.
All right. Well, that's the end of the rapid fire round. There were a couple of passes, but that's okay. Let's move on to the long form questions. The first one is, so you can start by telling us a bit about yourself and your current portfolio in your career.
Sure. So, you know, I'm a marketing operator. I partner with tech founders and their executive teams to define and implement their business growth path as what I call a full stack CMO. So, really anything from, awareness to retention. My work is anchored in customer insights, data, brand, and marketing. And so I founded a growth consultancy, Marketing Cube, that you mentioned earlier. Before that, I worked at Google, American Express, and Not on the High Street. And in my last in house role, I was digitizing the UK healthcare industry at Pharmacy to You by bringing repeat prescriptions management online. It's very much a mission driven business. It was saving the NHS, the UK health service, about 15% in medication costs, and it's an £8 billion cost line. And in my tenure, we started delivering growth rates equivalent to opening an offline pharmacy every 2.5 days. There was really, strong adoption. Today, I run a portfolio career that includes angel investing and board advisory on top of the growth consulting work that we talked about.
So, what would be the main connecting thread, according to you, in this diverse range of things that you've done?
Yeah, working with startups, really working with fast growth businesses, tech led businesses, kind of using technology to, for the good, I guess.
So then, would you think that the CMO role should be limited to leading marketing strategy, or should they also oversee sales and product, enterprise-wide innovation, distribution channel management, and mission-critical partnerships as per the organization's needs?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a very wide element. That would be a very big job. Someone had to do all of that. I mean, in organizations with no direct sales team, for example, D2C business, the CMO is by default the chief revenue officer, right? And so, in organization with a direct sales team, like a B2B or something like that, CMOs are core partners to the CRO. So they are revenue accountable and tie in their activities to revenue impact, whether it be short term or longer term. So with that, marketing is really a contributing commercial department in my mind, and there are, especially if they really set up growth engines, as opposed to how it can be perceived in places as a cost center. So when it comes to product, I do believe it's a separate kind of partner in the organization to marketing, but there's obviously super close partnership opportunities, especially when it comes to product-led growth, activation, retention. And then finally, maybe to pick up on one more on your list, innovation in my mind comes from anywhere, and it's not limited to any specific department in the organization. And so, kind of innovation becomes almost a DNA of an organization as a whole, and everyone contributes in that direction.
So, growth has been the core of your work for a long time now. Can you define what growth focused teams mean? Can you define that for our audience?
Of course. I mean, firstly, it's important to call out that growth is really a company focus and strategy beyond having great team focused on it. And it doesn't exclusively sit with marketing, product, or sales for this matter. It requires cross functional alignment and focus and a clear set of must win battles and metrics at company level for all departments to align with. Um, all obviously we know how core growth is to startups, but hopefully it starts painting this kind of picture how it's a corporate level thing. Growth teams, right, and maybe a little history about growth teams is that in recent years, the idea of hiring a growth marketer within startup has become increasingly popular. But originally, the growth model was born at Facebook, where they created a growth team made of engineers, product managers, designers, data scientists, and marketers who all participated in the decisions around strategy, tactics, experimentation, priorities. To grow, engage, and retain a user base. So it really covers this cross section of a company, connecting engineers, business operators, and user experience teams. And really, that independence played a clear, a key role in this growth entity because they were empowered and trusted to follow their hypotheses. They were given space to test different solutions or experiment. And this really led to this increased innovation and agility, giving the team more opportunity to take risk, analyze results, and optimize effectively. So that's really the foundation of what a growth team is, and it's really kind of what it was, how it was born out of Facebook. But too often, unfortunately, people now think, I'll hire a growth marketer and that will sort it. It's a good step, but it's definitely cross-functional piece of work.
So, where do you think the entire trend of hiring growth marketers is headed? Are we going to see more of this, or is it on a decline? How's the recession going to impact this? What do you think?
Yeah,
What does the future hold? Yeah.
yeah. I mean, a high quality growth marketer who actually retains a base, grows a base, right, and can deliver to those commercial obligation will always be in demand. Then I think it's a mix of the business opportunity at hand, and they will be naturally with any recession all of the more frivolous places where we spend our money that will be hit just by the natural behavior of a customer. And then another side will be just is that growth marketer able to stay on top of of doing those experiments, right? And is that an industry in which there is an opportunity to growth at a given point? So I don't think that growth marketers are going anywhere, but I'm hoping that startups are really starting to properly understand that it's just one piece of the puzzle, and really to make it work, it needs to be organized at corporate level, right? Growth is a corporate strategy, not a the role of a growth marketer. Dot.
So, speaking of your own corporate experience, do you recall your first experiences managing and leading teams? What were some of your key learnings from that time?
Um, my first experience leading a team actually was cross functional, so not direct line management. I needed to influence regionally or cross functionally to deliver my project at Google or at American Express for that matter. This was a wonderful opportunity to build my leadership skill, influencing skills, stakeholder management skills, and overall coaching skills because you don't really, nor should we ever have any kind of direct control on people, but it's not a direct reporting line. So you really need to be leading from influencing and coaching and collaborating. All of the skills really, I think, really helped with then direct people management because all of the skills are important to be a good direct line manager. I'm also lucky, I guess, to have had a lot of great line managers myself and learned a lot from their styles, from their way of operating, how they used to behave with me. And then maybe the main learning has been that despite the old adage, right, treat others how you'd like to be treated, that really does not apply to line management in my mind. It is actually, the way you you do direct line management is actually closer to the way you engage with your customers in my mind. You need to understand their mindset, what matters to them, their ambitions, and, how they would like to be supported and how they would like to receive that support. So that I think was my biggest learning through my people management experiences.
And so it's been almost 15 years of experience working for companies such as Google and American Express. So, in what ways did all these experiences that you've talked about help you launch your own growth consultancy?
Wow. I mean, at the end of the day, basically, they were my playground, right? They were my learning playground, all of those different places that were growing fast for many of them, like Cisco and Google, or not on the high street. And so my time spent in the tech industry, right, well as working with startups or scale ups, exposed me to many founders, product teams, and different business challenges. It also allowed me to polish my product marketing skills, my understanding of what it takes to find product market fit, acquiring your first 100 customers, or scaling your customer base and operations. Also, it allowed me to witness, wonderful brands being born, shaped, matured. So really, it's armed with all of experiences that I now support. That kind of I now packed that to support new ventures and founders on their journeys of solving important problems and solving for meaningful problems in the world. So that's they were really my training ground to package all of that from early stage businesses to later stage businesses and bring it now to new founders.
So, to what extent do you think like having a playing field like that is important for any founder or growth marketer or someone who wants to lead their own business? Like having an experience in the industry, is that important, and to what extent? Because a lot of people nowadays just believe they should just start their own thing, but they have no idea about the industry. So,
Mhm.
what would you say about that?
I think there's two angles to it, right? I mean, startups are their own little machines, right? And if you had an opportunity to work at a pretty well-run one, you will learn a lot of things about how to handle certain situations, some best practices, and that's absolutely invaluable. And anyone who usually, any kind of side hustle people who go like, oh, I'm going to start my own business, I'm like, yeah, I mean, there's no reason why you won't succeed, and a lot will. But if you have an opportunity to work within a startup, I think it's invaluable. To your industry question, um you know, arguably the reason pharmacy to you, which is an online business that two of my colleagues and myself were working on, arguably it was a success because we were non-pharmacists, we were consumer people, we were technology people that really applied those best practices to an industry that hadn't been disrupted in a long time. And there's not that many maybe pharmacists who really look at it in this technology consumer angle to it. So there is in other cases, right, someone might be coming, I don't know, from the construction industry or some kind of real estate or something like that, and they have seen the inefficiencies, opportunities that tech could provide those industries, and anchored with this very heavy experience in those industries, they can actually bring technology and others to the table. So I think you kind of need to have both, but it just depends how complex is is the industrial challenge and understanding you need to have of the industry to be able to disrupt it, right? I mean, a pharmacy, yes, has a lot of very important medical and a clinical compliance element that needs to be put in place. But beyond that, you're still talking to consumers about a delivery, a physical good that lands on their doorstep. And as much as it's a life enhancing, life saving kind of product that you're delivering, and you have to take that into consideration. um you know we felt that actually the consumer experience and the tech experience is what was going to help us succeed, and we've been proven right in that sense.
So, having had this successful growth marketing consultancy story, what are some of the things you see startups getting wrong and right as they scale their businesses?
Yeah. I mean, it's a wide topic, but some core elements that come often, and when people actually get those right, that's where the magic happens, as the industry tends to call it. Not truly knowing their target audience. And what I mean by that is often there's founder product fit, if you like, in the sense they're solving a problem they've experienced, but they're still, a focus group of one, right? It's their personal experience. And so sometimes they become, um, they think they know their audience more than they do. And so really understanding the audience, their context, what truly are they trying to accomplish, what anxieties they might have about trying a new solution. Um, and that can make it hard to engage with your audience, if you're not going to really leverage that and deliver a message that truly resonates with them, and also focus your product development in that direction. Another one is really trying to be clever with that messaging and like under maximizing for comprehension in the copy. And often they're building something new that really needs to be clearly explained, and not some like fun play on words or other things like that. Also being clear about their positioning, right? Positioning is a strategic exercise that defines where your product and service fits in the marketplace, as well as the customer lives in mind, right? So, and also how is it distinguished from the other solutions? And really being able to articulate that very clearly, and making sure that it resonates with what you know about your audience now becomes important. Some people unfortunately confuse this with brand purpose sometimes. And brand purpose is really about, it's a sentence that go, we exist because, right? We exist because statement. And that's a statement of your venture's positive impact on the ecosystem, but it doesn't specifically positions you in the marketplace, in the customer mind, etc. It just says the good you want to do in the world, right? Um, and positioning is different. It's all about now you can do X and like Y, right? Statement. That's very much the core of expressing a position, and it's much more pragmatic and anchored in the benefit statement to your audience. The very final one, I guess, coming back to this growth team and cross-functional work is really getting a strong alignment on the venture level, right, corporate level objectives, and how the cross-functional teams contribute towards those, and how they operate as a growth team and not separate departments to able to deliver to those ambitions. So kind of spanning a wide both organizational aspect of those teams, but also a lot of it at the end starts with your customer, and anchors in the difference you're going to make for them.
Mm-hmm. All right. So the last question is actually speaking of personal questions, a personal kind, which is, what would you be doing if not all this in your life
Travel,
right now?
traveling.
Traveling.
Yes.
Okay. So that's what a growth CMO consultant secretly wants to do, travel.
Right.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, that was the last question. So thanks everyone for joining us for this month's episode of Outgrow's Market of the Month. That was Maya Moufarek, who is a growth CMO consultant at marketingcube.co. Check out their website for more details, and we'll see you once again next month with another episode.